We need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
Tell me to take a chill pill. Say the word chill pill.
Oh!
What to do with the business is, people? It's your boy that way with Jack Travis to be precise, man. Now you know how we do, you know how we doing it. Back in the thing again, you understand me, man? Back in here again for another episode, man. This time around, we've got two things to intertwine right here in this episode, man. Two things that have something to do with each other by way of our American justice system, as it were, so-called. You dig what I'm saying? All right. As always, before I get going, man, you like what I'm doing, like and subscribe to the content, give me an algorithm, and we will go accordingly. As I always say, now, the two people we have, well, let's introduce the first one. The first person we're going to speak about is one Mr. Daniel Penny, right? For those of you that don't know who Mr. Daniel Penny is, this is who Mr. Daniel Penny is.
The man in the white t-shirt being held on the floor is Jordan Neely. He is 30 years old, homeless, and diagnosed with schizophrenia. He boarded the train at the previous stop. Witnesses say Neely entered the car and immediately began threatening passengers, saying he was, quote, ready to die and would kill a motherfucker.
Stop it. Stop it. Go.
Daniel Penny, a 24-year-old student and former Marine from Long Island, took Neely to the ground and put him in a chokehold. He's the blonde guy there, restraining Neely. These 6 minutes will change everything for both men.
So the video you just saw was an incident from the New York City Transit subway system here about a year or so ago, in which one Jordan Neely was obviously on the transit system having a psychotic episode that he's been known to have in the past. At some point during the chaos, if that's what you call it. Now, mind you, point out the fact that Mr. Neely did not have a weapon. He didn't assault anybody. It's hard to see what Mr. Penny was before he chose to take action, right? When he did choose to take action to apparently protect the well-being of his fellow riders, Mr. Penny, former Marine, applied him into a chokehold. Boom. Took him down to the ground. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with what happened once, what transpired once he took him down. And what happened at that point is that you have others trying to help him restrain Mr. Neely, grabbing his arm and on his legs and giving him words of encouragement. You even hear a guy say, hey man, you got a hell of a chokehold. My wife is former military. You got a hell of a chokehold.
My wife is ex-military. You got a hell of a chokehold, man.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna die.
He might choke on his own screen and put him on his back. He's on his side, man.
Maybe.
Yeah, like this.
On through the day, homie. Huh?
As Mr. Neely is limp on the ground. Now, again, Mr. Neely doesn't look to weigh a lot of weight. Out on the streets, not really eating well. Obviously having a psychotic episode. Mr. Penny is trained in the art of I won't call it the art of murder. That'll be a little stretch. But he's trained in defensive and offensive tactics, right? So once he took this man down to the ground, bro, you've pretty much dissuaded the threat. You did what I'm saying? You've got other people standing around. You could have easily held him down and kept him from getting up. You could have searched his body, searched this person around his waistband, up and down his legs to see if he had a weapon in his pockets. To the point to where you could have released the chokehold, but still could have kept the threat at bay. Instead of doing that, Mr. Penny continued to hold his choke for 6 minutes. Now, we just had an episode that made the collective go up over a knee on the neck for 9 minutes. We saw Eric Garner be a chokehold applied to him in New York City of all places over a loose cigarette. He died. The chokehold was barred from use in New York and probably in other places. Mr. Penny, having this training, surely knew that a 6-minute chokehold, I mean, how could it not result in death? There's no human out here that can go 6 minutes without oxygen, even minimal oxygen for 6 minutes. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that I heard in one report that he would hold him tight for a minute, then he would release the pressure, and would hold him tight, and he will release the pressure. And as I say in a lot of my episodes, someone who is very familiar with the healthcare system, the workings of the human body, O2 oxygen saturation, oxygen into your blood below, man, listen, below 90%, you have got problems. You're talking about down at 60% or lower, that's death. And so if he kept applying and reapplying, applying and reapplying, it's not that he was allowing his oxygen O2 to get back up to 96, 98. No, choking him out, it was steadily lowering. He would let him go and maybe it would come up another 5-10%. But when you reapply it, it goes back down. It's never getting back up to survival and sustainable levels. So I don't agree with the time he had him down on that ground. You'll hear him in the interview talking about, he was terrified and he just wanted to protect how he would feel if one of the people on the train was injured or attacked.
I mean, I'm not a confrontational person. I don't really extend myself. I think this type of thing is very uncomfortable. All this attention and limelight is very uncomfortable. And I would prefer without it. I didn't want any type of attention or praise, and I still don't. Mm-hmm. The guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, would never be able to live with myself. And I'll take 1 million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt or killed.
Why would you feel like that? Why would you personally, like there's no one else on that train? Maybe they weren't willing to jump in and assist, but had that man started doing something to someone, I think there've been plenty of people that intervened. I'm sure there were other people on that train that were capable of intervening and doing something. What made Daniel Penny feel as though the job was his? I think they want that kind of job. You dig what I'm saying? I say they because it's a certain type of person. And when you hear people like Laura Ingrams and the Twitter bots of the world claiming he's a patriot, they love to throw that and anoint people with that word. While at the same time they look at a guy like Luigi Mangione, the CEO assassin. They cannot fathom why people are having some type of a kinship, hold a nice place in their heart, or have some vitriol towards a guy like Brian Thompson. They just can't understand it. But in the same breath, they anoint Daniel Penny a patriot. It's not like he thwarted a terrorist attack. From what we can see in the videos, he didn't stop anything. He jumped in because of what he perceived. You know, like that's that cop thing. I felt threatened. You know, nothing actually happened that prompted him to put him in the chokehold, but he did. He kept it for 6 minutes, and ultimately ended in the death of Jordan Neely. Well, Daniel Penny was acquitted yesterday. Daniel Penny will be going home to enjoy the holidays with his family, fresh off of what we've seen in these videos, and being anointed a patriot, interviews everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Get off his job. He did what he's supposed to do. We love him. He's a patriot. Meanwhile, contrast that with this video.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else, because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
That is a young man by the name of Deobra DeLeon Ridden. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Everyone, I'm sure, remembers that video of old boy. He was about to get sentenced in the courtroom here about a year or so ago, and he chose to take it into his own hands and air his grievance out, literally air his grievance out with the judge, right? She jumped up at the end of it. You saw her kind of scurry off. I didn't see her bleeding. She wasn't unconscious. She may have had a couple knots on her head, and she may deserve those couple knots. But that young man was just given 26 to 65 years in prison.
Speak first. He wants to address the court.
Miss Judge Susan H. Johnson, I don't understand why the state is like really going after my character. I mean, I've always had problems since I was a little kid of like psychosis and being in big crowds, and always feel like my life is in danger. I didn't know, being a young person, even in middle school, elementary school, knowing that like I fear for my safety. I'm just being me, going to school, growing up, trying to do the right things. I never get tired of trying to do the right things. The state just said that I have no remorse. Like, I feel like Judge Johnson, she doesn't know me. I understand she's doing her job. I'm not mad at her for that. But I know that I'm not a bad person. And I'm thinking, like, even she knows that, but I'm sitting here like she's doing her job, you know? And I believe that you all know that I'm not a bad person. I'm not an evil person. When I came to court on January 3rd, 2024, I was listening to music. I was in a good mood. I had a stable place to stay. I was trying to get a job. I did not catch any new charges. I'm not a bad person. I don't understand why the state is trying to prove me as a bad person. I understand they have a job to do, but this is just, it's not right to me, you know? I'm not an evil guy, and I just keep going after me. I see spirits, I hear voices. I've been going through this for over a decade now, really since 2012, you know? And I just feel attacked, or just not safe since I was a little kid. And me growing up, I didn't know that I had these problems.
For that assault that you just saw on video, 26 to 65 years for that assault. Daniel Penny, for what you saw him on camera doing, was just acquitted, going home for the holidays, anointed a patriot. You know, it's a stark difference in the tiers of justice, as we all know. These are two individuals that assaulted someone. One says he was doing it in defense of his other cohorts. One did it in defense of his manhood, I guess you can say. 26 to 65 years for that. 0 years for this. And so, you know, those two events happen right around each other. There's not a whole bunch of backstory to put into the two. It's not like any of these people knew, you know what I'm saying, Daniel and Jordan didn't know each other. This judge and this defendant, you know, maybe they had been in the courtroom together, but it's no deep storylines, anything to go in like that. Just some, you know, random events. But the ending of the two happened to hit around the same time of each other, and I thought it just illustrated a wild difference, man. And also with the CEO shooter, just to hear the type of rhetoric that comes out of a lot of a certain side of our society's mouth, man, when it comes to these different events. You know what I'm saying? You've got the just comply crowd that'll also, but they'll turn right around and anoint a guy a patriot when he behaves in a manner that is like, okay, hold on, bro, that's excessive. But then, you know, you'll also see him talking about certain events you see on camera, maybe at some of our legal institutions and government institutions, and say that the force applied against them was unjustified. But then they'll turn around in the same breath and say, yeah, this guy's a patriot. He did what he's supposed to do. Then when you see an instance of police misconduct, the same crowd will say, well, they just should have complied. You know, it's like a circular. I saw this thing about who's the guy who was a football player, man. Some football player, but it was like a circular diagram. It was like the guy gets traded, plays well for 10 games, gets rewarded with a contract, throws 5 interceptions, gets traded, goes crazy for 10 games. You know what I'm saying? It's wild like that. But it's kind of like the circular diagram they go in. But again, man, I thought this was a wild little, a wild 2 events to look at, man, and just look at the stark difference and how things are treated out here. But can we be surprised? You know what I'm saying? If you look at the way that things are developing out here, man, like, we can't be surprised. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Jordan Neely, man, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? The man had mental problems, bro. He didn't have a weapon. He didn't assault anybody. The use of force, I think, was excessive. I think the acquittal is roundaboutly wrong. He definitely should have served some time for that. And Mr. Redden definitely shouldn't be going to prison for 26 years for assaulting the judge. You know what I'm saying? Apparently the judge was about to hand him a stiff sentence, and he didn't agree with it. I don't condone and say that you can just jump over counters and punch judges, but if you happen to do that, I don't think that you deserve to go to prison for 26 years. Now, I don't know what Mr. Redden may have had in his past. Now, maybe he's got some prior crimes that lead to the judge taking the action she did, but I have a feeling that it's just all based off of what happened on that clip. And if so, that would be crazy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll do some little reading up and see if something else went into it. But again, I thought these were 2 interesting things to bring to you all. Daniel Penny is apparently a patriot going home for the holidays. Mr. Redden going to prison for at least 26 years. And until then, this has been That Way with Jack Travis. I'll get to y'all soon. Loud.
We need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
Tell me to take a chill pill. Tell me, say the word chill pill.
Oh!